I'm sure it's on every Cougar fan's mind. What's the latest with conference realignment business? Anything going forward? Anything new to report, or is it just constant conversations?
I think it's all of the above. I think there are a tremendous number of conversations that are ongoing literally every day, all day, just to kind of reimagine what the possibilities could be and what the options are out there that would be the best for Washington State University and certainly Oregon State University as well. But really looking at Washington State, we're looking at this as an opportunity. You know, we have an opportunity to be on the front end of a lot of potential movement and, you know, one might say uncertainty in college athletics just with where the landscape will be with so many changes. And so there are a lot of conversations, but really looking at how we can maximize it and make it the best possible landing spot for Washington State going forward for many years to come.
Is it too early in the process to tell whether it's going to be a realigned Pac-12 or merging with other schools, or just the NCAA basically putting all the football schools together? Is it too early in the process for that to figure out where Wazoo kind of lines up?
I think it is. I think it is just a little early in the process. If we're going to do the best possible, really evaluating for Washington State, I think it would be, you know, tempting to jump and be impatient in this process right now. And I think patience and optimism are going to serve us really well going forward. And so, while it's too soon to tell, I think it's too soon to tell as much because a path that's out there may not be known. And we really want to make sure we've explored every possible opportunity for Washington State. To really find that best landing spot, whether it is a rebuilt Pac-12, whether it's a a conference situation that's yet to be determined, is really, you know, all part of the opportunities that are out there.
How big was the CW contract, putting Wazoo's home games on TV nationally? How big of an impact does that put on the athletics department and in general all over?
Yeah, the partnership with the CW network has been absolutely tremendous and huge for us. I mean, to really be able to keep the Washington State University brand and really nationally to literally every home in the country because of their coverage, to keep our brand out there, to keep Cougs in front of Cougs, but also to bring in new fans and viewership and people that may not be as familiar with us, I think has been really important as we look at the uncertainty. I mean, to be able to show Cougar fans will tune in and they can find our games and have access to them was tremendously valuable. Recently, a House versus NCAA class action lawsuit is just kind of settled. Is it too early in the process to figure out what that means for Wazoo or even colleges in general? I think it is. I think it's premature for anyone to know exactly where that's going to land and what opportunities and challenges will be out there relative to, you know, accessing student athlete benefits and supporting our student athletes at the highest level, but exactly what that can look like, what are we able to do as an institution, both logistically but also feasibly, I think is you know, too soon to tell. I think we're quite a ways off from that right now with too many unanswered questions.
There's an amended law, state law, that's coming in effect tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
It's about NIL. Sometimes I think people or fans it's just too much noise or whatever of what's going on with NIL and how it affects their school and stuff like. Can you kind of tell what this does for Wazoo by the state being able to allow like Cougar Collective work more hand in hand with the school? Can you explain that?
Yeah, it really does loosen up the parameters around Washington State and the Cougar Collective working more as partners. There were a lot of restrictive, laws, policies, et cetera, in place in the state of Washington in particular that really limited the amount that our staff or staffs of other state universities in Washington could really be involved. So I think the changes that will go into effect tomorrow will bring about a really exciting opportunity to partner. You know, we have many investors, fans, folks out there that, you know, they want to, you know, support the annual fund. They want to be part of the Cougar Athletic Fund. But then there are other people that are like, oh, tell me about NIL. Where can I contribute? And this will give them several options that we can work as partners, as opposed to being two, you know, kind of standalone, sort of menus, if you will. So it really will allow us to optimize each other's audiences and find ways we can partner and help amplify the messages, you know, both that they have, but also that we have through them.
Where do you see the future for NIL and not even just at Wazoo, but just in general for colleges all the way around? How does the future look for that?
I think ultimately it's fairly recent and new relative to being something that's allowable for student athletes to participate in. Part of me feels like there's still a level set process that probably will need to happen in what the true intent of NIL was, where it has kind of evolved, and then where it will ultimately settle. So I think as student athletes and as investors or businesses, get more miles behind them in the NIL space, I do think it will continue to evolve relative to where's the healthy landing spot where student athletes can benefit and leverage from that, but it also is in a good balance with what they're also doing as student athletes.
Where do you see Wazoo in about 5 years? Is that hard to, we're just talking about how things are changing drastically. Like even in the past year, things have changed drastically with sports.
Yeah.
Where do you see Wazoo? Is it more about position right for being on the West Coast? Is it more about being part of the sports nation in general? What do you see in about 5 years for Wazoo?
Yeah, honestly, my vision for Washington State University, in 5 years is no different than it is sitting here today, which is really to be in a position to compete for championships, to make to have a world-class student athlete experience, but also to compete for national championships and to go as far and deep into postseason and, whatever that looks like in each of our individual sports. We attract high-achieving individuals who want to get a great education, but also really push themselves to be the best they can athletically. So I really, in a lot of ways, don't see our mission any different in 5 years than I do now. Now, how we're executing that mission may look a little different when we find, the conference landscape settling out. But to be honest, I think when we talk about everything that's unsettled or changing, what we need to understand is that is not. The commitment to Washington State University athletics, to the student athlete experience, and to really competing at a high level, those remain intact.
You've been really busy your first few months on the job as the interim. I know you've been at the school for a lot longer than that.
Yes.
But not only navigating NIL, transfer portal, conference business, you've also had to hire a new basketball coach for the men's team, and you also extended the women's coach, Cammie Etheridge. How do you fit all that stuff in there?
It's, with all sincerity and all honesty, it's been a labor of love, honestly. It's always, college athletics is always a busy place, and we have had definitely a lot of, kind of unique opportunities to really roll up our sleeves and go to work over the last, certainly even the last year, but the last, 60 days or however long it's been at this point. So I'm a very systematic, to-do list kind of person. And so really, we've got a great team at WSU in the athletic department and at the university, and really, just developing that to-do list, prioritizing what needs to be done when, and really just rolling up my sleeves and going after it. At the end of the day, it's fulfilling to get some things done, and I feel like the positive momentum is something that we all need. And so how big or how small those things that are getting checked off the list are, they're all really important right now, and feeling positive momentum moving forward.
I really like that you kept Cammie.
She's amazing. She honestly fits so much about what we're all about. Like, she loves the community. She's all about building a team, and she is absolutely a huge priority.
And how big was that to get Coach Riley down from Eastern?
I think really good. He understands and knows the Eastern Washington geographically, and the state of Washington, and he's been kind of watching from afar, but also certainly competing against WSU, and he's a very team culture, players coach type of, but in a way that is very symbiotic with WSU, I think. I think he fits us really well. I think he's got very high aspirations, but really wants to do things the right way and be patient and really build that, continue to build the program from where, Kyle Smith got it to and beyond. So.
And then the really big question, Apple Cup coming up in September. Is it going to seem a little weirier that it's in September, or do you think it's still going to be knockdown, drag out, Cougs versus Huskies?
Always. If it's anything less than that, I'll be disappointed, because the Apple Cup, regardless of what month it's played in, should always be that type of competition, I think, which was partially why it was so important to continue that game. And just, the emotions run high regardless for the Apple Cup. And I think at the end of the day, the players want to play it, the fans, want to see it. And I think September will be kind of a unique, interesting opportunity. You know, hopefully the weather will be good, because I know many an Apple Cup has been, you know, snow bowl type games, and so it'll be great. It'll be just different and fun to have it at a different time of year, and I'm bring it on. I'm excited.
In your time at Wazoo, not even just your time right now as the interim athletics director, what's your favorite moment at Wazoo?
Oh, I think it has to be when game day came to campus, and partially because it was such a culmination. There'd be so many other athletic moments or just neat achievements of individuals over time that really, you know, warmed my heart or just were so memorable. But at the end of the day, not only the game itself, not only the lead up to it, and the partnership between the campus, the community, and fans literally worldwide that could tune in, or the ones that could come came. But also the culmination of just such a neat tradition, you know, with Old Crimson and the Cougar flag. Like, just all of it felt like the perfect quintessential Cougar moment for me.